Warning: the following podcast episode was filmed IRL, and the audio is kind of scuffed. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a very special episode of the Passive Tree Podcast, a podcast dedicated to talking about life, Path of Exile 2, and everything in between. On episode 22, the first IRL episode, I am joined by my pal and PoE content creator, Off Meta Michael.
What up, dude?
What's going on, buddy? Thank you so much for meeting up and doing the first podcast episode.
It's never been done before.
So let's break it down for us. What happened yesterday? We tried this, and give me the scoop on what happened.
Basically, you manifested destiny. We tried to shoot a podcast last night before we went out, and you said it might be scuffed, and it did get scuffed. We got like 20 minutes into it, and we didn't capture anything afterwards. So this is take two.
This is take two, guys.
Yeah.
Just to be transparent, we did try to do this last night. I ended up setting my camera on like the highest quality possible, and then I looked at the conversation. It was 20 minutes long. We had about an hour conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm super happy that we were able to redo this again.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's jump right into it. I wanted to just talk to you a little bit first about kind of your experiences with the games before 0.3, because we didn't really get to talk about that. So give me a heads up as to like what you were gaming on before like the patch actually dropped.
So before the patch, in 0.1, I made like 9 builds or something like that. I was really into it. Obviously, in 0.1, there was a lot of stuff with balance in the end game that they needed to fine tune and fix. But I was excited. I was coming from Diablo 2. And I really wanted to make a bunch of builds and experiment with all of these skill interactions. Mm-hmm. And in 0.2, I kind of like took it back and only made one character. There was something about it where I just wanted to focus on the one and not get so spread thin on multiple characters. And then now I feel like we're back to the 0.1 feeling of having lots of build variety and potential. But there's still some things that I want to talk about with this patch that I feel like we could give some good feedback and maybe get some talking points in for the community to kind of respond as well.
Sure.
And so that would help GGG if they happen to hear it or something too. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I would love that. I know like you ended up playing a bit of like Elden Ring and some like Path of Diablo. Did you want to like say anything about that?
Project Diablo.
Oh, sorry, Project Diablo.
Yeah, so before this patch, I played Elden Ring for a couple months and I did a druid run of Project Diablo 2. Which was really awesome. Dude, Project Diablo 2 is so good. It makes like rare items really worth a lot, and there's an end game, like kind of like PoE. Yeah. There's like maps and stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. So I don't want to get too much on a tangent on that, but it's good. I was going to make a review of it at one point, but I just kind of lost steam on editing and stuff and decided not to make the video.
For sure. No, I just wanted to ask you that because it is like directly related to PoE in a sense, because like all of those like cool end game changes and like a lot of the quality of life stuff is all coming from PoE.
Yeah.
So it really does feel like with that Project Diablo 2 that like that is like what the natural like progression of the game would be. If like Blizzard North kept like improving it and making it cool. So yeah, I'm super stoked that you got to try that out after all these years. It's really, really dope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I've never played it before and I was pleasantly surprised and I enjoyed my playthrough of it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And then did you want to talk about Elden Ring at all before we get into the stuff?
The only thing I have to say about that really is has to do more so with like the performance of PoE 2, like optimization of performance. And because I was playing Elden Ring and I was thinking back like, dude, this game is massive, open world, no loading screens, runs fine. There's not as much happening on screen, and that seems to be one of the pain points of this patch too, is like the visual clutter.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it is a finished game, and PoE is a early access game. But
absolutely.
It is tough when like you can go from that like those jarring differences of like beautiful open world, really high like fidelity graphic game, like basically running at like 60 FPS no problem, and then you go into an abyssal map and it's like 10 FPS game.
The bitrate just gets crushed and and then all your skills are coating the ground and then there's green pools on the ground that you can't see. They're degenning you. So that was kind of my experience with that stuff. Those are the frustrating points of this patch, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. So performance, was there anything else that like you thought was like an extremely frustrating point for you that hasn't even been fixed yet in like 0.3.1?
So like I think it's mostly just that I'm a little bit I'm like mourning the loss of meaningful combat a little bit.
Okay.
You know, like is meaningful combat dead? It's still there a bit in the campaign. In the end game, though, you do have to tailor your build to wiping things pretty quick before they wipe you.
Yeah.
There are changes to armor. Armor is saved, which is excellent. That was one of the things I was harping on in my previous videos, critiquing the balance and itemization of PoE2. I made several videos just on armor, and I had testing videos of armor and energy shield, armor and life, just showing how energy shield and evasion is just peak every single time. And I was complaining about it, and people were even saying things in the comments like, you have to use block, and I'm like, that doesn't fix armor, you know? So, but they fixed armor. You can run a two-hander now, or like dual wield maces, and just run armor without block, and you can be pretty dang tanky. Actually, you can be immortal.
Yeah.
So they might have to tune back a little bit of some of the regen and recoup mechanics. So those, what was I just lost my train of thought. So like,
I think this is great. Like, I would love to talk defensive layers with you because I also tried armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it honestly feels so much better now with the like elemental damage absorption.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And especially with block too. I know that like the like overall like block chance it got like nerfed, but I think that all works well together.
No, it does. They had to, I think, with how armor's better. So what I remember now.
Yeah.
So what I was saying is that I'm mourning the loss of meaningful combat a little bit.
Yeah.
But armor is saved.
Yeah.
So that kind of helps because then you can actually get into like a mob, take hits, deal damage, you know, like trade blows, it feels like a little bit. Before the game launched, coming from the Diablo 2 perspective, which by the way, Diablo 2 is so clean. You know, when you get to the end game, quote unquote, of Diablo 2, everything is very, very, very readable.
Yeah.
I would probably say the most cluttered build in that game is doing like a fire elemental druid where you're keyboarding between all of the different fire moves. There's fissures, there's volcanoes, like all that. And even that is still completely readable. And PoE2 is not.
Especially with Mist now, yeah.
Right. There's certain builds that are okay still. And then there's several, like I played Warbringer with fissures and totems, and I can't see anything on the screen. Mm-hmm. It's satisfying in one regard, and then also frustrating in another because of performance, but also because of the way the Abyss works. And then my second build, I went something off meta and kind of a mishmash of mechanics where I was trying like minions, companions, and melee, and like all that stuff together. And that had the same issue though, where I couldn't see what's happening. And I feel like the game just really kind of does penalize melee characters in that way, especially with the ground effects and the degen effects.
For sure.
I'm just like kind of struggling to understand why they keep putting those in the game, except I'm thinking they need to kill you somehow. Because it's like, I feel like a lot of players are so good at the game and they understand the mechanics that like you'll just never die if you don't have a degen ground effect.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like when the game first launched, when they were marketing it, Jonathan said things like, the top end of speed is going to be 5 attacks per second. And now we can see builds that are hitting 44 attacks a second, right? Or he said things like, everything is going to be readable. And like he would even say things like, you know, to people who were talking about PoE1, like on podcasts and things, Jonathan would be like, it's not readable anymore. Like, is it readable? And like he would talk about this like, as a main pain point of PoE1. And I was like, oh, we're already there with PoE2. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's what I mean when I'm saying like, meaningful combat feels a little dead, you know?
For sure. Just to build on that, like, I think, you know, we definitely have meaningful combat in the first time you play through the campaign, right? Like the first time you play through the campaign, you have no items, you have no currency, you have no like support gems. And that to me is like how the game is supposed to feel. If that kind of sounds weird, it's like that experience is my favorite like run through the game because it's just like, you actually have to like engage with mechanics, play the game, like, you know, experience all of the bosses and stuff like that. So it does exist, but my follow-up question would be like, is that how the whole game should feel? Or is that really limited to like the first run of the campaign and then after that it's just like you're either twinked out with twin gear through the campaign and the end game is just like blast?
Yeah, no, I get it. It's kind of a hard balancing act because you want the game to have scaling ability and you don't want it to just be like the campaign the entire time.
Yeah.
So, but I guess what I'm saying is that it feels like you need to be one-shot clearing things and running fast and speeding through the end game in order to keep up with the end game right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that is such a jarring change from how the campaign feels and what was promised when they were talking about PoE 2 being a different game than PoE 1 and more in line with kind of like the Diablo 2 background. That's kind of how I was seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I was just gonna like add on that. I think that you're absolutely right. And this is kind of leads into like what my biggest issue is with the patch is like the lack of difficult content. Like we talked about this yesterday as well. Like having like these builds that are even stronger now with all the crafting that we can do, stronger items, everything like that. More support gems are like influencing our actual abilities. There's just nothing like that hard to do in the end game at a certain point. Like bosses are just getting destroyed in one hit.
Yeah.
So I think that like
my Warbringer can basically one tap like the bosses.
Yeah, I'm doing that on hardcore solo self-found. Like I can only imagine what people are doing in Trade League. Like, it must be insane.
Yeah.
So I think,
and I crafted all my own weapons and everything. I didn't trade for them.
Yeah.
So it was, which is great by the way.
It is amazing.
That's actually one of the most fun things is actually looking at all the base items, either rares or blues, and being like, oh, that's got a great base for crafting and then desecrating and then throwing a perfect essence. And then you can like know that you're going to get a decent item or like if you get a little lucky on a couple, you get a godly item. And so that feels great. We have crafting now.
For sure.
We didn't have it before at all.
Yeah.
And it solved something that I wanted in the game from Diablo 2, which was all the base types have a use.
Yes. Which I also love as a D2 enjoyer as well. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
But with the baseline of character power being higher now because of crafting, I feel like GGG didn't make a mistake, but it was a little bit of an oversight on like not adding additional harder content to kind of like balance out the baseline for how strong every character is now.
So when you want harder content, do you mean the boss just needs to have like 1 million more HP, like times 1 million more HP than it really has?
I would love that. I would love like actual Uber fights. I wouldn't even mind like, so I don't know if you've engaged with this, but like T16 mapping right now, the only way to get that is through Valor, like your T15s, and then the chance of hitting one of those is like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
So you're not really.
And sometimes it goes down before.
Exactly. You're not really engaging with like the hardest type of map. Well, I guess coming from an SSF player's perspective, how we only have to get and craft those maps.
Yeah.
It's just not something that's like readily available and easy. And so I would love if like T16 maps were like more accessible. Maybe the battle chance was like higher, or if there was like a T17 that we could acquire somehow as well. Like some next level to really like kind of showcase like how powerful our characters can get.
Yeah.
We're just a little too strong right now for what we can do, I think.
What I was wondering, like, do they really need to have 15 maps? Like, could they not like truncate everything so that it's like, here's like 1 to 4 is like this? Because whenever I've done a character, and maybe this is a really bad take because I'm not like, I came from Diablo then straight to PoE 2, but it always seems like I can do map tiers 1 to 4 or maybe 5, and it feels no different.
Bro, I agree.
And then I do like 6 to 10, and that feels kind of no different.
Yeah.
And then I'll do like 12 to 14, and that feels no different.
Yeah.
And then level 79 and 80, which is like tier 15, 16.
Yeah.
Right? That feels kind of like different.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, do I need all the, what do I need 15 tiers for? Why don't they just truncate it down so it's like 1, 3, or like 1, 2, 3, and then it's like 4 and 5 are your tier 16, 17.
Right.
Like, why don't they just have 5 tiers and just leave it at that? I don't know.
That's an interesting point because the map feels the same almost from level like tier 1 to tier 15. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like it doesn't feel that different.
It can depending on the build.
Yeah.
Because I've played some ethical builds, and those you can like a level like a tier 12 map to like a level 80 tier 16 is the difference sometimes between getting like one shot and not.
Got it.
On like an ethical build that you're experimenting with mechanics and maybe your evasion isn't high enough or whatever. So that I do feel the difference in that. Like the level does matter, and I noticed that like if you want to get your last ascendancy points, the easiest way to do it is to grab a Jinbara level 75.
Yes.
Right, and so if you do 80, it's like almost impossible unless you're really decked out already.
Yeah.
So it does seem to matter if the monsters are 5 levels lower, right? It does. You can feel the difference. But I'm just saying, like, it feels like I have tons of waystones that are completely useless by the time, because you just jump right from like tier 1 to like 12 to 15, you're kind of done,
Yeah.
So I don't know, is that something they can rethink? Is that on the table to be like, do we really need all those waystones?
It's a great point. I've talked about this quite a bit, and like I agree. Like depending on the build, obviously, but if you're playing like a pretty good build, like the journey from tier 1 to 15 doesn't feel that like crazy.
No, in point 1, I was jumping into tier 15 right out of the cruel difficulty.
Yeah,
I was doing that in point 1.
Yeah.
In point 2, I only made one character, so I don't know. Because usually your first character might climb a little slower, right?
Yeah.
But in this patch, it was like, yeah, I kind of climbed slowly with my Warbringer, I think.
Yeah.
But that's just because of the availability of the Waystone. You don't have it yet.
Yeah.
But it just seems like they could truncate it. So.
No, I agree. I think that like if you have T15 to 15s available, like if it's your second character and you're getting to maps, like you're probably going to be tempted to just chuck those in like as soon as you can to get that XP. Get your
because the benefit of the XP is better than even if you die. It's like, well, you're playing hard. So never mind. Yeah.
But no, I agree. And like, the grind to just get the like upgraded Waystone tiers is the thing that basically bottlenecks everybody. But like the power again, it comes back to the character power. It's like it feels like we're just like ready to go basically into higher tier maps right into the campaign in a lot of cases, depending on how you craft and stuff. So yeah. So with like as a sort of another topic to meaningful combat, like just in terms of difficulty of the game, like how are you feeling about like how difficult the game feels now versus maybe like 0.2 or 0.1?
Yeah. I think when the game was newer, it felt like some of these bosses were a lot harder and stuff. But now it just kind of seems like avoid the red slam, stun the boss somehow with an ailment or a heavy stun, and then just blow them up. Yeah. And if you do that, then you're playing the game correctly, and you can kind of trivialize all those boss fights, So in Act 4, in the new act, they did add some like interesting mechanics like the ballista and stuff that you have to use, and the guy regens each one.
The prisoner fight was really
cool. Like that's cool, but even that is just the same thing I just mentioned 3 times.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of like if you're not doing that, the bosses can be really, really difficult. But if you are and you realize like that's all I got to do, then they're pretty easy. So and the thing that I just keep getting frustrated about is like if you play a melee character, you zip into the boss and then they have something on the ground that's just damaging you. So you can't really like get in, and the ranged characters have all the benefit of just, that's what it feels like to me right now. So I don't know. I think like you can do so much damage right now, like you were saying, that you could even just one tap a lot of these things. And that can be satisfying in a way because like if you're smart enough to figure out like some tech or like whatever, like a rotation that does that, it feels really good, right? But that's not really what they were going for. I don't know if they've changed their mind. If they're like, no, that's fine. We just want you to like get to the boss. Just like if you figured it out, kill him, done. It's like in 1 second. That's fine. I don't know if that's what they want.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like when I started playing in 0.1, it was my first ever Path of Exile game. Complete noob. I also think that the game was way harder at 0.1.
It felt like it. Yeah. There was like a point where I got to the Dreadnought, and the first time, I think I died 25 times.
Oh yeah, I died 25 times to Geonor, dude. Like at the beginning.
But I beat him on the first try though.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened. Yeah.
But like, so I'm trying to like gauge, and it's like I know I had a lack of knowledge. I know I had a lack of skill.
Yeah.
But I also know that like the game hadn't been balanced that much, and I know it was harder as well. So it feels like, there's obviously this combination of like I'm a lot better of a player now. And also the game has just been tailored to be a little bit easier now too. Like you get way more currency in the campaign. Like opening up any abyssal like trove during the campaign, you're probably going to find like at least a regal orb.
But this is a good thing in a way though, right?
It is.
Because it just feels more fun to play, and it's a video game. So if you're just like grinding and sweating like the whole time, eventually you're gonna like get burned out by that.
Sure.
So which kind of brings me to like the campaign skip point. I feel like there's a lot of people that want to skip the campaign.
Yeah, and so The campaign skip, dude. I think because we're both Diablo 2 players, we have to acknowledge that because I think that influences our opinion about
The
this.
campaign is the game.
Exactly.
You want to skip the game?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. For me, it's like I've always maintained, and I talked about this way too much, but I love this conversation. Like the campaign is one of the best parts of the game, like in Path of Exile 2, especially because the end game hasn't been like fleshed out yet.
Yeah.
And it just feels weird that like the game isn't even complete. The campaign isn't even done yet. The end game isn't even done yet. And people still want to skip to the end game. Like I don't really understand.
Yeah, it's early, man. It's way too early to skip the thing they haven't finished making yet. But that's one point. So we should maybe revisit the topic later. But I will say that it might be inevitability because a lot of people want it and GGG is pretty receptive. I remember Jonathan saying in an interview that if people want to skip the campaign, then we failed in the campaign. So they can fine tune it to make it really good. The other thing is that Path of Exile 2, when they were first creating it, it was supposed to be an alternate campaign to PoE 1. Mm-hmm. And so I imagine they could potentially do something like that once there's been several leagues of the same campaign for PoE 2. They could create an alternate route that is a second campaign. I don't know if that means it will be a skip, like meeting that much faster. It might just be different. So that's a possibility. The thing that I'm against, which is what a lot of people said, was they wanted a skip where you start an alternate character after beating the campaign, and then they have a level 65 character that's on tier 1 maps immediately. And I think that you shouldn't do that because when you give people what they want that quickly, they just check out sooner. And like there's something in Diablo 2 called Hero Editor for offline.
Yes, dude.
And this will make you not really want to play the game anymore. Like if you start using Hero Editor to make everything that you want, you definitely can just build everything, give yourself as many jaw runes, burr runes as you want, make all the items, and then you will not play the game anymore, really. Like there's some people that are like, oh yeah, I'm just doing that for testing, and then they do ladder reset. Yeah, but you're not going to try to grind and play. And you know what? Maybe that's a good thing because now you're not spending your whole life playing Diablo. But I'm just saying that it kills the game. It kills the magic of like finding things and
for
stuff.
sure. And testing your build. Like the game is engineered in a way so that like the campaign are actually like milestones to how strong your build is.
Yeah.
You know, getting up to certain gem levels, getting your first spirit gem, like etc.
Yeah.
Like, so by skipping all of that, like you actually don't, unless you're like a really like a knowledgeable player, like a lot of people if they're on their second character and they skip all of that, like you're kind of just going to be dumped in maps with what? Is the game just supposed to give you a bunch of tier 14 skill gems and be like, make your build? Like, does the game make your build for you? Like, it just,
I don't know. Unless
weird.
It's like unless it's they're saying that you use what you've collected on the first character and then you can just create a level 65 character. Maybe it costs currency. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't love it. I also though am just saying I love like a fresh character in Act 1.
Me too.
I like the music. I like the aesthetic. It reminds me a lot of Diablo 2. It's nostalgic in that way.
For sure.
I like that. I don't mind slowing down and having to redo that. You know what I mean? So that's me. If I was in charge of PoE 2 and a bunch of people kept yelling at me to tell me for a campaign skip, I would first try alternate things before I did that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if they'll ever cave on that. I don't think they should. Like I said, I think it will create this problem where more people will check out sooner from the leagues and stop playing the game as much. And the other thing is, I think it sets a bad precedent for right now for how they're still developing the campaign. You shouldn't develop the campaign with the idea that you're going to skip it.
For sure.
They should act like this is going to be the thing that you got to do. We want to make it as good as possible.
Absolutely. No, it just seems a little bit redundant to talk about it at this point. But I will say as a final note, like, look at PoE 1. Like, people have probably been asking to skip PoE 1's campaign for like 10 years, but they haven't implemented that. Yeah. And the way that you skip the campaign at PoE 1 is just you just get better at it. You just learn how to play the campaign better. Which
is a skill within it of itself, which is kind of like a new campaign in a way. Like you play with Twink Gear, you play it knowing where to go first, you know which place to
skip. Look at layouts.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and so I really like that where it's like at the end of a league, in preparation for like the next patch, you can just like make a new character and just run the campaign and just figure out like maybe you watch an Angormus video or a Sarge video and you just see what they're doing, see how to improve your run.
And you can be like, oh, that that took like a couple hours off the campaign for me.
It can, yeah.
So yeah, there is that. There's and then that's always been part of the style of those games. I mean, it's really classic Diablo 2 to have like speedrunners like blast through the campaign and like skip all kinds of stuff and finish it in several hours. And you're like, dude, it took me like 25 hours and you did like 3, you know? So that, which is just a really interesting thing to get into. So I think, campaign's got to stay.
For sure.
We shouldn't skip it. We should definitely make it as good as possible. Maybe have some alternate interlude style thing eventually in the future. But yeah, it's got to stay, I think.
100%. I know that you had like a spicy topic yesterday. If you want to, I'm putting you on the spot here. If you want to talk about it.
Okay, so I was saying. I was saying, when does PoE 1 go into maintenance mode?
Yeah.
And that's going to piss off so many people.
Hold on. Before we go into this, what is maintenance mode?
So maintenance mode is when the developers no longer create new content for the game, but they'll still do league resets and some balance patches here and there just to kind of keep something going.
So essentially what Diablo 2 has been in for ever. Basically.
For so long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Diablo 2 players, we wanted all kinds of stuff for years and years and years and years. They finally did the remaster. They added a few little things here and there. People are still playing it, Sometimes there's like, if you really love a game too, it's like, if they keep changing it more and more, it might make it worse and worse.
Right.
So there is that too, where Diablo 2 has like many problems, but it's in a state where people still keep playing it, right?
Yeah.
I was saying this because if PoE 2 is losing the slower, methodical, meaningful combat style of gameplay, then what incentive is there to make it to be a different game if they're not going that direction, right?
Right.
And
as it gets closer to PoE 1.
Yes, and then keep PoE 1 on this 2-month cadence with PoE 2. So it's like at some point they're probably going to just look at the numbers and be like, we have such a bigger player base for PoE 2. We're going to devote more of our resources to PoE 2's league cycles, and PoE 1 is going to be kind of like, but that, like, this is me though, underestimating how good they are at making content, maybe. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's not that hard. But from what I understood, one of the reasons they made PoE 2 is because it was hard to change things in PoE 1, because it's such a freaking like web of content, and they're like the character, what do you call it? Like, they said like their character builds or models, or
like the riggings.
Those have like really hard to make new animations for and everything. Whereas in PoE 2 it's easier. And they said that the developers were frustrated having to make content for it.
Right. So
at what point do they kind of just like back off, and then it's like all more so PoE 2? This is like the natural way of things too. Like, when they made Diablo 3 and Diablo 4, they didn't go back to D2 and update it every 4 months. I don't know. And some people are going to be like, like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Don't put that into the universe, But it's just like, I just think, why wouldn't you like kind of devote more into PoE 2? It's like you have more players for that game. You're probably making more money off that game, And if you make it more like PoE 1, which you are already now, which is like I said, I'm mourning the loss of meaningful combat, but you are making it more like PoE 1 now. You're going to bring some of those PoE 1 people into PoE 2 anyway. They're going to like PoE 2 better.
Yeah. Oh, it's a tough one, bro, because I want to believe that you're not like that you're wrong on this, but I have a feeling that it could potentially be an outcome. It just depends. So right now,
I don't know. It happened to other games. I just don't see why it wouldn't.
It didn't happen to Diablo 3 though, which is like kind of where my mind instantly goes. Like, even though Diablo 4 made way more money probably than Diablo 3 has. I don't know actually if that's true or not, but Diablo 3 is still getting updates like 15 minutes later. Like actual content though. Okay. Yeah. And so even though like the player base for Diablo 3 is probably smaller than PoE 1, like it's Blizzard's still showing love for that game. And so
maybe they got some nice whales or something. Or just
like, can you even whale in Diablo 3?
Maybe they do. Maybe they're like, this guy just keeps spending $10,000 a month on the game. Let's go.
It's Diablo Immortal for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I feel like with PoE 1, I honestly don't think that they'll stop like doing because the whole concept of PoE, like what Chris Wilson, Jonathan Rogers, they always talked about was we're designing a game to basically be be played forever.
Yeah.
And part of that like design philosophy was like we need to consistently add stuff to it to make it so that people are interested in it. With that being said, though, like I can understand where you're coming from, where it's like, well, if PoE 2 is just becoming basically PoE 1.5 and better with more players and making more money, like what actually incentivizes GGG to?
I feel like that's going to be like a reality check at some point, right?
Yeah.
The other thing too is like how many new players does PoE 1 bring in? I guess I don't really know, but my sense is that PoE 2 brings in a lot of new players, whereas PoE 1 doesn't bring in a lot of new players, and so you just are going to have like maybe like this like really solid base of players still, but it's not growing either. So there's that. So it's kind of like, but that's just the way these kind of some of these ARPGs are. It's like some people are just playing forever.
Yeah,
you know.
Let's put it in perspective. Okay, so let's say we've been playing PoE 2 for 10 years and PoE 3's out, but we love PoE 2 so much. Yeah. How would you feel if they just like were like, PoE 3 is getting all the love now, and that game that you love. It's
dude. I think I'd be okay. For like I'll probably be so much older than by, but also I've been through it. I've been through it with D2. I've been through it with D2. It's fine. It's just the way of things. It's all right.
And when that gets to the point, 10 years or something, when PoE 3 comes out or something like that, like the game is gonna have so much shit to do that like realistically, like, do you really need more to do?
Well, dude, that's why I was like, I can't play Diablo 2 anymore.
Yeah,
you've
done it all.
I've done it all, but also I don't have time to play it and play PoE 2. Yeah. It's like I just don't. Mm-hmm. There's and I already made like 90 builds in that game, so it's like, what else am I gonna do? Yeah. And I think I made almost every rune word. Like there's nothing else for me to do in it. And I don't know if PoE 2, even PoE 2 right now, there's like in this league, there's like 10 builds I want to try to make, and there's no way I'm gonna even get to them all. You know. And
then that's just going to be like exponentially more with like all of the classes, the weapons that are, it's going to be crazy, bro.
I'm actually really excited for like more one-handed weapons besides a mace.
We need swords.
We need swords and flails and daggers and and I'm really interested to see how that all works with like dual wielding and stuff. If they're going to allow mixing and matching, like can you do a sword and a flail? That'd be awesome.
I think you probably can.
I like that would be cool. I would really like that. I hope they are going to work that out eventually.
I think that's just going to make Melee feel better. Just kind of like bring up what you said before. Like the game still feels way harder for Melee right now because the one of the reasons is because the weapons that we have available for Melee are like maces and quarterstaffs. 2 of those are two-handed weapons. One of them is really slow. Quarterstaff you can be pretty fast with. The only quick Melee weapon that we have is mace, like one-handed maces. And daggers and swords are going to be like, way quicker.
There's spears too, though.
Oh, spears,
Spears are pretty fast.
Yes, spears are pretty quick too. Yeah, spears are actually really
You
quick.
can actually fly.
You can.
If you do the do the tech right, you can just like
for sure.
Which is something that I feel like they're gonna have to rein in if they wanna make sure that people don't experience the FOMO.
but Jonathan always said about spear and Mark too, that we wanted spears to feel like the most like agile like weapon basically that you're using. And I think it comes across pretty well. I wonder how like axes and swords will like actually physically feel to play. Like, do you think that swords will feel?
It should definitely be in between the spear and the mace. Like it should be faster than the mace, maybe not as fast. But I mean,
what about daggers though?
Daggers gotta be fast. Yeah, like you should be able to like. Right. Like you should be able to do that. With them. Yeah, like that would be really cool. I'm looking forward to that. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited for all the new content and I really just can't wait to make like a wolf build, like a wolf pack build with the druid and tech and wolves and all that stuff. Yeah, I did build like that at D2 a bunch.
Hell yeah. Okay, so we have a few more topics. I'm happy to, I know you came prepared as well. If you have anything you want to bring up before we get into sort of like the 0.3.1 changes.
I think can we talk about some of like just like the main pain points, or did we kind of cover that already?
Kind of. I wanted
to cover that. We covered that already. The clutter and the vision degens, right? I'm forgetting if we did it. Yeah. Okay.
Just your general pain points, but there are a few things that I wanted to talk about as well.
Oh, dude, what about the trade? Did you
trade?
Because you don't trade, but like the trade is amazing.
Well, yes. I mean, I don't know personally. I've done
because you're SSF hardcore.
I've done one trade this whole league.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It was for a constricted command for a fractured orb. Shout out to homie Loopy for.
Okay. No, dude, the asynchronous trade is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's so good. If Diablo 2 would have implemented that, I never would have stopped playing it probably. Probably wouldn't even have looked at PoE 2.
You would have quit your job.
And I would have quit my job.
You'd be still
I'm going full time. Oh, I could just trade forever. I can make YouTube videos just what I traded all day. No, so the asynchronous trade is phenomenal. I just wanted to say that they nailed it with that. And it feels so good to log back into your game and see what you sold and collect some exalts and stuff. And yeah, it's awesome.
I think they handled like that system perfectly. I think that like their introduction of like an auction house or something that kind of took the life out of trading, I wouldn't have enjoyed that. Even though I don't really play Trade League, like
auction houses suck, dude.
Yeah. So it felt like, and it's funny because I've talked about that particular trade style on the podcast like months and months before like 0.3 came out, where I was like, there was a game called Maple Story that had like, and I'm sure this is a system that exists in multiple MMOs, but in Maple Story, you could have your own player-owned shop, and you actually set it up in like it's called a free market, where players can go there, they can see all these shops like lined up, and you can just go shopping in the game via player-owned like merchants. And I always thought like, man, that would be the sickest thing to have in PoE 2, because you could still like engage with people. You could leave them messages if you want to in their shops and stuff like that. So yeah, it was just really cool to see how like they GGG interpreted that and put that like concept in the game.
Yeah, dude, that's something I wanted in Diablo 2, like even before they put it in PoE 2.
Yeah, like, you have your
why can't I
have your gear on them, and you're just sitting in.
I was using a website called Tradery.
Yeah.
For D2, and I used that almost exclusively. By the time I was like almost done playing.
Over like D2 JSP.
I wasn't using the JSP. I was using Tradery.
Yeah.
And it was fine. But it's also just like tedious.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Okay, so I want to say, just as sort of like a thing to build off of this, I feel like GGG as of like 0.3 has been like full of like surprises. Like the asynchronous trade was something that I personally thought wasn't going to be in the game until like launch of the game. Mm-hmm. And then the end game rework, even though we know that was coming in 0.4, they still were like, but here, have the tower changes and all that kind of stuff. Like now.
What do you think about it?
The tower changes, the end game stuff, I haven't done like an insane amount of testing, but I'm all for like the way that it is now versus like before. I think they talked about this on like the Path of Exile podcast pretty in-depthly, and I really agreed with what Dead Rabbit said, where the top end amount of juicing that you could have done before with like the quad tower setups, it was higher. But now I think like you just get more out of every map. And I think at the end of the day, it will be a net positive for like basically the feel of the game and how much loot you get overall. Yeah. Despite like the top end not being as high as it was before.
I'm someone who never cared about maximum juicing.
Yeah.
And so for me, it feels way better.
For sure.
Because when I did try to do that kind of stuff, overlap the towers, like once I got to that point, it felt really bad to be like, Joey, shouldn't even bother with this until I have at least 3 towers. Like I have these 2 going, oh, there's another one right there. I'm gonna have to path over there, get that one before I do these maps. Like it just felt like so tedious to do all that.
100%.
The one thing is like I just have all those precursor tablets now, like just sitting in stash tabs. So like there's that now, which is a little bit kind of.
Yeah, we got to talk about that issue. So we were
kind of stuff. Yeah,
we were saying yesterday that there should be like a quest that you get.
Oh yeah,
after you beat your first tower, Doriani comes in and he's like, here's
my magic fanny pack. Yeah. And he gives it to you. He's like, thanks, Dorian. Yeah, and you put it in there and you got your little precursor down there.
We need something like a 3x3 area in the inventory to keep like tablets and waystones, because it's starting to feel like Diablo 2 all over again with the charms and everything in there. Like you just
Can we please keep the inventory clean, free, so I can pick up items?
It's not fair that Titan has the prison wallet and no one else does.
Yeah, and like for me, it's always like the bottom row of my inventory is always like some ID scrolls, some augments, some transmutes, some alks, like some reglows. Because I did some strong boxes this week. Yeah. And so you can, upgrade those and stuff. Yeah. So it's like I have all of that sitting in there just so I can do that. It's just like I need like a little fanny pack or something like on the side, just a row, or like maybe underneath your belt or something, like somewhere where we can put those and keep the inventory clean.
It'd be huge. Even if it was like an actual in-game item, like a pouch that you could get. And through that, the campaign was like a 2x2. Then you could get a 3x3. Yeah. And then there's like a unique one that's like a 4x4 or something like that. I don't know. Or God forbid it was a microtransaction. I would buy that immediately.
I would get it still, like a stash tab, right? Like you kind of need stash tabs, so you could get it. I would get it if it was that, but it would be cooler if it was an unlockable campaign,
100%,
or something, or an end game quest. You know.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, like end game quests is something that I kind of hope that they lean into, as opposed to the aimlessness of the Infinite Atlas. I still like some of the randomness, but I also think we should have highways or a bubble of sorts where things are located on the atlas every time,
Right.
so that you can work towards it, get it, and that biome has like, oh, there's the Citadel, or there's like the breach, like, you know, domain, and we go in there, and it's like every map is like a quest line getting closer to Zesht, you know,
For sure.
and like that would be really cool, and that would make you, and that would actually help a lot of the people who are not so just into the maximum juicing of maps, that they're like, hey, I just got out of the campaign and I don't know what to do. It's kind of aimless, and oh, I can do the breach quest line. This is cool, and it gives them a direction. Wow, they get some points for their breach.
Yeah.
I really hope they are gonna flesh out the end game league mechanics to have quests to follow.
Mm-hmm.
They would just make it feel so much better.
Yeah, it would ease the transition of having like such a, you know, a guided experience of the campaign, and then it gets to maps and you're just like, there's a corruption area, go do the Nexus, and there's a tower, and that's it, and just go nuts, and it just feels so like, you know, the it's such a contrast from like the campaign. So I think what you're saying is such a good idea. Like it would just help people sort of like merge into the end game.
Yeah,
And
like
then-
just have like a highway, and then you can still have the randomness, and if you don't want to do the highway, you don't have to. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree. They need to do something with that, because, you know, for new players, once they get to the end game, it's like, it can be just overwhelming to just see like this vast thing and have no idea where to go, what to do, like.
Mm-hmm.
And they did improve it since like point one. Like before point one, there wasn't even Doriani talking to you, telling you what this shit was.
Yeah,
It's
and
just
this is still just early access.
Yeah.
Stuff.
So they're aware that like there needs to be this sort of guidance in the end game.
Yeah, I think they should, and you know, I think they've proven that they can do that with how the interludes went. You know,
What did you think of the interludes, by the way?
I liked it. It
Yeah.
was. I mean, also it's just like Cruel just became annoying.
Yeah.
Like at first I thought it was fine because D2, that's all you have is normal nightmare hell difficulty.
For us, it's like, yeah, it's standard procedure.
It seemed like, oh, this is fine. Like, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, like, yeah, this is annoying now. I don't like having to redo. And then people are gonna be like, but you said no campaign skip. You just said you didn't like redoing the campaign. No, it's like, yeah, no, it's fine. I get it. But having to redo the exact same on the same character, and it's just like you just fly through it with better, like it's not exactly as fun. So the interludes are really cool, actually. I think that I like the rewards. This was something that I said before too, as I said, give me some better campaign quest rewards. Like you can get those little like totem or whatever things are, and they give you like either res or tributes or something.
Yeah.
Those are all really nice.
Yeah.
You know, and I asked for stuff like that in one of my videos, and I remember I talked to Try on the podcast about it, talking to Try, and he was like, I kind of disagree with you on that. Like, I don't think we should have so many like, you know, notable level of like thing. And then they put it in, and he was like, haha, yeah.
It made it exciting. And dude, here's the thing. I never even saw that until like my second character.
Oh,
And
really?
then people in chat were like, yo, which totem did you pick for your character? Was it the resistance one or the global defenses? I was like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? So I just had played up to like level 90 without any buff or whatever, and I was like, oh.
I assumed there was going to be stuff like that when I played through it the first time. I was like, I checked every nook and cranny of everything and looked at the map to see if there was any rewards.
I also didn't find the unique vendor in my first playthrough either. And I had to go back and be like, oh shit, like there's a, you know, in the Act 3 interlude.
Yeah. Did you find the rune vendor?
I did find the
Yeah.
That was huge.
That was huge because for some reason in the campaign, like, it didn't drop, like, it really dropped any runes.
Yeah, that was like the saving grace. I was so down bad for runes at a certain point that I was contemplating just making new characters to get to him so that I could fund my main character.
Yeah.
Which is not ideal, so GGG, like, please update the runes.
It's also an SSF problem, right? Yeah,
100%.
Because trade, you just trade more.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But the problem is that, like, with the rune system being the replacement to like the crafting bench essentially in PoE1, you want to be able to have those things available when you need to for upgrades. And right now it still feels like when you play through the campaign, you're very limited to like, you know, for some reason I feel like the attribute runes have like an equal weight in like the loot pool versus like the resistance ones. Or like the mana on hit or the leech like stuff. Like I feel like there's some sort of rebalancing that needs to happen now where like those resistance ones need to have priority, and like iron runes need to have priority because those are the ones, and like the flat damage ones. Yeah. Because those are the ones that we need the most.
Yeah, I think on my first character, it was like I had like a bunch of like intelligence runes and like barely anything else.
Yeah.
It was just bad RPG, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. And it gets to the point where like you are kind of bottlenecked from upgrading your gear, like your weapon or something like that, because you just don't have the runes and you don't want to like use something.
Yeah, but like it kind of gets solved. Like by the time you're running a second, third character, though, it feels like it kind of solved. I don't know. It's like it doesn't like I'm not hurting for him. I barely traded for him. You know, after that, so it's kind of just like maybe the first character is the problem with it. So I don't know.
Yeah. I think so. Because, like, yeah, you're right. Like, by the second character, you will have, like, a bunch of greater runes, but, like, your lesser, you won't have any lesser runes.
No.
Yeah.
You won't really.
So, like, if you want to use lesser runes, you're going to have to find them on the new character, and, like, the drop rates are super low. So, it just, especially for, like, the new low-level characters, like, it almost seems like, they're, like, non-existent, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of did experience that, too. Yeah, for sure.
Same with support gems. Like, I remember, like,
those were scarce in this patch. I don't know why.
Yeah, like, I could barely, like, use any support gems. And before, like, in 0.2, I was just, like, overflowing with, like, you know, when you get to Act 2 and you get the Horn of Hysteria recreated.
Yeah, that was global. Because I watched a few other, like, content creator stuff, and they were like, where are the support gems? Like, and nobody had support gems on the first character. Yeah. They were really scarce, for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, we talked about this yesterday, but I kind of wanted to bring this up again. So, with the changes, another, like, big thing that people are talking about right now is, like, the rare monster icons. So I just wanted I wanted to get your like perspective on like how you feel about them like taking that away, and what's your thought?
I didn't like it at first because it was jarring because I used to look at that to see how many rares were in the map and where I was going to go first, and my second character uses companions, so I was trying to capture really good companions with good modifiers, and then it was like, dude, where's the next? Like I need to see if it's like a beast rare so I can capture it or not. So that kind of sucked for that. I kind of wonder if they should just do, I don't know, an Atlas.
What if there was a skill gem that was like, you know, in like World of Warcraft where it was like find beast or something like that? What if there was like a skill gem for like a spirit gem where it's like you could search for
the only thing I don't like about that is when a lot of the builds that I play, I'm already using unset rings just to fit in everything. True. And so if I had to fit one more in just to see the rares, I would never use it. Nobody would use it because it's a waste of a skill slot, most likely.
100%. Unless there was like damage to rares alongside that or some sort of
maybe if it did something like that, that'd be okay. But I don't know. I think they should probably just have it like the health bars, you can just toggle it on and off if you want.
100%.
Or you could kill the boss and the rares show up.
That also is true.
I think they could do that. Like if they if you kill the boss, because the boss icon is down there,
right?
And so if you run straight to the boss and kill it, then you could just be like, oh, all the rares are now like in the map again and I can see them. Mm-hmm. But also I want to say that if I recall correctly, GGG said that putting the rare icons on the map and the teleporters was a band-aid fix for people bitching about having to run through the map empty.
Yeah.
And having to find the last rare.
Right.
So now that you don't have to find it, it seems like, you know, from their perspective, it probably made logical sense to remove the icons. And it does make it so that you're not like, oh, there's a rare on the map, I better go kill him. What if he's the one that drops the thing I'm looking for, the good currency that I want? Maybe that one's going to drop the Divine Orb, you know? If you don't see it, then you maybe don't feel like you're missing out.
Yeah. But if you can't see, can't hurt you.
Sure, but if you're playing something like strong boxes, though, like I was doing, then you kind of end up checking every nook and cranny of the map anyway.
Yes.
Because a lot of those end up being on the end or something. So I think they should just have an option you can toggle it back on, or they appear after you kill the boss. If you want to run back and kill them all. Just do that, because we got used to it, and then you took it away, and then a bunch of people were mad. And I even was like the first few maps, I was like, that's kind of annoying that I can't see him anymore. Yeah. Yeah,
I love that. I agree so much. Like, you can't just give us the ability to have like, you know, this knowledge of where everything is. And we talked about, the dopamine hit or like, the gratification of like juicing rare monsters and like magic monsters on your maps and seeing like the effect of that juicing.
It's just like, it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many rares in this map. You don't get that anymore.
You don't get that anymore. So I want to be able to at least toggle that on. So when I'm like actually using those like omens of like rare monsters on like a crazy juice map and looking at the abyssal map and it's just all yellow monsters.
Yeah, you jump in, you talk, okay, all right, it worked. The math is mathing.
Exactly.
I see the rares.
It's nice to have that.
Yeah, that would be good. So they should definitely toggle it on and off for you.
Yeah, but I will say that like from my experience, like it is nice to just like when I'm not doing that, like go into a map and just like play the map. Like just like be in there
and not just keep looking at the mini map.
I mean, I'm a mini map gamer anyway. Like this is a D2 thing probably. Like I just have the mini map open, like overlaid.
Really, I have a button on my mouse for the mini map.
Oh, okay.
Because part of this is because of visual clutter. Like I already can't freaking see, and so it's really annoying to me to overlay the map too.
But the map helps. And it did with the rare monsters because you could at least see. I can't see anything, but I know there's a rare monster.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like I know the rare is there because of the minimap. So this is the thing. Is like if you want to get rid of the icons, then you got to clean up the visual clutter too. So I can see that it's a rare.
True.
I can't tell if you're playing a minion companion build or fissures with Warbringer and stuff. You can't see that you're even encountering a rare until you're like, oh, there's a rare there.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks. Mm-hmm. So clean it up, maybe. I don't know. Give you the option. I think that's what they gotta do. Just put the option back in.
Yeah, I agree. So I wanted to ask you, your feedback towards the game via like providing it with like talkative tries, stuff like that. I feel like has like directly impacted like some of the changes that like GGG made with like 0.3, like the weapon swap stuff was something that you were so adamant about.
I'm gonna say that was all me, okay? Because I made videos 4 or 5 months ago complaining about the delay penalty on weapon swap, and I was like, because I was playing a spear quarterstaff invoker using different weapons and everything. And it just felt clunky to have to switch and have that delay, and it wasn't so snappy.
It was bad.
Yeah, and I made a video saying, please remove weapon swap penalty, please, And people said like, no, you should have like more nodes of the tree. And I'm like, it's such an unexciting like node to spec into. Like it's so annoying, So don't just add more. I even said that. GGG, if you're listening, don't add more nodes on the tree. Just remove it so they don't have to put points into it.
Yeah.
And I brought it up to Talkative Try, and he specifically asked Jonathan about it in his interview with him. And they had a back and forth about it, and Jonathan talked about how he wanted to maybe have attack speed and cast speed be the thing that determines it and stuff. But then you have to look at, all those modifiers and I was just like, if you just remove it, it solves it.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and then they removed it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just taking credit for it. and like there was even a guy that commented on one of my videos who was like, you're a nobody. There's no way that you had anything to do with that change. And I was like, I mean, I was the only one talking about it, and then I brought it up to him. It feels like I had a say in this,
For sure. Which is the cool thing about being like, a part of this community. Even if you have like a small YouTube channel, especially due to folks like Talking or Try who are kind of like the glue for the community as well. Like, it helps get these pieces of feedback out there, and like we don't know what GGG sees or what they don't, but I think that they're really in touch with just like the general like content creator sphere and like watching videos, and, like watching feedback.
They obviously are, otherwise we'd still be overlapping towers.
100%, dude.
Yeah.
But like I have to say that change is massive. Like even the ability to have the same weapon locked into both slots and then allocating weapons at 1 and 2 on the tree and just like changing your playstyle. Like, so I did that with my ice shot Snick Deadeye, where it was like lots of freeze built up, lots of elemental like damage and stuff like that on the one to get like enemies frozen. And then I would swap to another bow that was just like really heavy hitting, and then I had a bunch of points on the tree for other stuff that would impact the snipe specifically. And it was just like, it's so cool to just be able to do that.
Well, dude, on my Warbringer, I have one weapon set that's all just like totem stuff, like totem speed and like placement and like +1 totem and all that. And then you seamlessly swap to like a dual mace setup and then drop the fissure down and stuff. And it just like, it works so well. And it makes you feel smart for having like spent like 45 minutes looking at the passive tree.
Because you get more into the tree. Like you can actually cover like actual more surface area of the tree if you take advantage of it.
And this, do you remember how mind blowing it was when they announced the weapon. Do you remember this?
That. It was like a sorceress, and she had like a fire.
Yes, and
staff
it's like now you can spec into both things. And
Yeah.
it was like, and then like he switched, and it was like, you know, and everyone was like, oh my god, you know, like, and so that was like this thing that they were showing is like, this is why you should play our game.
Right.
As opposed to Diablo 4 or whatever else.
Yeah, because that's never been done before.
No, yeah, and it was like, this is so cool that I can dual spec. And then when it came out, it was like, people aren't really using it.
No one used it.
But now,
so niche.
Now it feels a lot better.
Yeah.
And that's actually why I started my second character as a witch hunter, because I wanted to experiment with his ascendancy that can just split the whole tree, basically.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of one of the crazy things about Witch Hunter that they added, like really, like right before like the patch up, like and we changed the Witch Hunter to have 100 and whatever.
You know what had me so excited about that too is because in my when I was discussing getting rid of weapon swap, I actually said in the same video, okay, here's something I'm suggesting that would basically change the whole game, but I'm just going to throw it out there. What if you could just dual spec? On weapon swap for any character? Yeah. I was like, that would change the whole game. But it would be like the build variety would be insane.
But and that's lose all of the identity.
No, you do, and it's too much. But I just threw it out there, and then they made it an ascendancy point,
which is really cool.
Which I was like, oh, dude, yeah. So the only thing is you can't take jewel sockets with it. Yeah, which does limit things a lot, but it should, right?
Yeah, I agree. So kind of talking about class identity a bit, like we talked about this. In our field chat yesterday, but I wanted
when we were
but I wanted to highlight
talking. There's no recording.
It was such a good idea. So you talked about sort of the dodge roll animation, like microtransaction that you got, and how that sort of like made your character feel more like a monk because you were doing.
There is a microtransaction right now that you can buy, and it changes your role to a cartwheel like an aerial cartwheel. And if you put that on your invoker monk, you feel super ninja,
which I'm gonna have to buy now.
It's not that expensive.
But we were saying how I feel like personally every class should have their own flavor to them. We talked about how their armor all looks the same, like how in Diablo 2 a necromancer just looks visually like a necromancer no matter what armor they have on. And I feel like it gets a bit lost in PoE 2 right now. You can have a witch decked out in full armor gear with a basic shield. It looks like a warrior, and vice versa. If you're using like energy shield evasion stuff, you just look like a monk.
Right. It's like you're choosing the ascendancy for the mechanics, you know. But I think that it would be cool if there was some kind of animation style for each one, that let players that are watching go, oh, dude, I can he's playing an invoker, like he's playing, he's playing a witch because she her dodge. She doesn't have the dodge roll. She has the floaty whatever. And the warrior
the drift.
If you take Titan, it's weird to be barrel rolling with all this armor on, and I'm a Titan, so shouldn't I just be he should be kind of hopping or ducking under things like this, and it would just make the aesthetic better in the class fantasy come alive a little bit more, and that's something that D2 did so well. Is each class has its identity in class fantasy that you are really building into and really enjoying. And people know what you're playing just by looking immediately. I think they could do that in this game too.
I would love to. Yeah, I know that's not their priority, but I think that over time, hopefully for 1.0 or beyond, they really bring it in to make those classes just feel more unique to each other. Yeah. Because it's like what you said. I've had people come into my stream, I'm playing a gemling shield wall build, and they're like, oh, your warrior looks sick. And I'm like, I'm not a warrior.
Yeah, it's gemling.
Yeah, because I'm a gemling. Right. But no one would know that.
And these are things that maybe some people are like, who cares? I just want my divines per hour. But for me, this is what kind of keeps me wanting to start the next character and keep playing. Yeah. And I think these are things that these are the finer details that make the game even better. This is what makes the game really, really good. For sure. It's these little details.
Well, it's an RPG. You're playing the role of your character, and if your character doesn't it doesn't feel like you're playing the role of anything right now, kind of ascendancies right now for me feel like they're just flavor to a build that you're doing. They're not defining your build in a lot of cases.
Sure, there's some that do, but I know what you mean. For the most part, that's the way it is. Yeah,
there's some that have
demon form or something.
Exactly,
defining the whole thing.
Exactly, or Acolyte of Chailua when you're using going into the breach, you actually feel like you're kind of embracing that ascendancy. Yeah. But there's a lot of them where it's just Deadeye, you just have Tailwind and you're just moving faster. Yeah. Yeah, or Gemling, you just have extra gem levels, and that's basically everything that you have for the character is your skill gems, quality gem levels. You're getting bonuses based on core gems. Like,
dude, how pissed is everyone gonna be when they nerf Tailwind?
What do you think like would be like the perfect nerf?
Everyone's like, why would you say that? Yeah. So
I don't know what I don't know. So I played Deadeye as my first character just to try and see.
Dude, Tailwind's so cool. It's like, why would you get rid of it? But then it's also like nobody else has that. So
yeah, it's tough. I think the cherry on top is like the extra physical damage reduction per Tailwind stack.
Yeah.
I don't think that 3% should be the number. I think like it'd be fine if it was just like 1% per stack, so you get like 10% damage reduction.
Dude, Jade, encased in Jade is only a 10%.
Yeah,
and that's a Warbreaker.
Yeah.
So yeah, why does the Deadeye get more damage reduction?
Yeah, they get 30% like physical damage reduction at 10%, like 10 stacks, and it's like on top of having way more evasion, movement speed, skill speed. It's like, oh my god.
They probably will nerf it too. I just because everyone played it.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Everyone played it. It's got so much mobility. Once damage isn't a problem, you know, then mobility is basically the next thing you want to have. And so, I mean, there's something they have to do either with speed or with damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
How we doing?
We're doing good. We got like about 15 minutes left.
Okay.
This whole topic about speed kind of, I think will tie into like maybe the last thing we talked about, which is kind of just the general state of like movement speed right now in the game. Because before 0.3, we didn't have sprint. We didn't have like all of these crazy ways to craft items like deterministically so that we can get these boots with like 100% increased socket, like, you know, the effect of the socketables and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So those items were insanely rare, and now it just seems like if you're playing trade, like at a certain point, everybody gets like these insane boots. Like, how are you feeling about movement speed in the game right now, especially in the end game?
I'm curious if they should like hard cap it at some point so that the more investment into it doesn't actually matter anymore. It's a game though where you should be able to scale things and like break the game. I know that, but at the same time, if you don't, then everyone is just going to play the fastest thing all the time. Mm-hmm. So if you want people to try other things, then maybe you have to kind of cap it a little bit and just be like in Diablo 2, this is the way it works actually. And there are breakpoints in Diablo 2, and there are certain points where further investment into movement speed or attack speed really doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Diablo 2 also has just teleport, which is like...
Well, there is that too, which is kind of just like, we'll just forget about that. But so there is that. It's like, yeah, you want to be able to have a fast character. You want to fulfill that fantasy. But like, it's so much faster than what like some of the other classes can achieve. And I feel like that's kind of a problem. You know, it's just for build variety, for people feel like they're missing out on like and falling behind on the trade league and the currency inflation. It's like they could, you know, bring that down a little bit so that you just don't feel like, man, my character's moving this fast, and like the Deadeye over there is on a Roa and he's like immune to all of the slowing potency. Yeah. And he's just flying through. Like, what am I doing? Why don't I just make a Deadeye? What am I doing? You know? And that's kind of how I feel like a lot of people are thinking when they're looking at this stuff. It's just like, just give me the fastest, most damaging thing. And like, for me, some of the changes they made to armor and stuff were so great that you can actually build into those things now, but it's not fast enough, so people don't want to do it.
Even with the notable, like the momentum notable, where you can like remove the penalty for armor now, which is like so nice to have, by the way. It just, it still feels like right now, unless you're like a Deadeye, you need to have those like crazy boots at the end game.
Dude, and I get people are going to be pissed that I even brought into existence the idea that they should slow down movement speed. But I'm just saying, like, for the balance of the game, like if your job was to balance the game, like wouldn't you have to do stuff like that? Like take that down a little bit, like, you know, I'm just saying to be realistic about it. Yeah,
like I love the introduction of sprint. I was honestly I was so on the fence about it before, dude. Like I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, really? Like this is their solution? But like now that I've gotten my hands on it for the last month, I'm like, I fucking love sprint.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I just played Elden Ring, like I was saying, you know, and there's sprint in that. No, it made perfect sense to me to have the sprint afterwards. So I think it's fine.
Yeah, but it just seems like now because of how strong characters are with damage, like, you know, the next thing to min-max is just like the speed at which you can do that damage. Yeah. And so we've kind of found ourselves...
It's easy to get gem levels too right now.
It is.
And so they either need to bring down how powerful levels past 20 are or something like that, or they need to bring down how many skills you get from deterministically crafting a perfect essence into your weapon that gives you 6 to attack skills. Or
How nice are those essences?
They're so nice, but it's like it's at the same time. It's like you have to.
Are they OP a little bit? Probably.
Yeah. You couldn't easily get that before. You know, like I did find +7 to like spell skills and stuff like wands though that are like so GG that I desecrated, crafted, and made built with. And that's really cool. That you cannot deterministically craft a +7.
Yeah.
So
on a staff.
No. Like so you have to find that base.
Yeah.
So that's still cool.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think you can with Sanctify though, can't you? Like you sanctify a +6 and then it has a chance to roll up to a +7. Isn't that how that works?
I guess so.
It's super hard.
It's still a gamble though.
Yeah, it's super hard to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think on the whole with like 0.3, for me as an SSF player, like the crafting is like if they had just done crafting and nothing else, it was like we were eating like crumbs of bread from like a little like plate on the ground in a prison cell, and now we're at like the buffet with like everything we could want.
Yeah, oh yeah, dude. The crafting is so good, man. I like the logic of it. This is something that really Diablo 2 never had actually. And it's so new to me because I didn't play PoE 1, you know? So I really do like the logic of the crafting where you're like blocking prefixes or suffixes and removing and, you know, all of the way that works. I just think that that's really smart.
Yeah.
And I kind of get it now when everyone was complaining like there's like no crafting. There's no crafting in like local halls. Just like, GGG, where's the crafting bench?
Where's the crafting,
GGG? You know, like,
God
and he's just like, oh, what's the crafting bench? Yeah. and it's just like, and I get it now. I totally get what he's talking about now because I was like, I don't know, like it's not that bad. I'm picking up items like me too.
Yeah.
No.
It's crazy how it went from 0 to 100 though. Like, it wasn't like they just like slowly.
They just fixed it. They just like fixed it.
They were
like,
yeah, there you go, boys.
Yeah, we got crafting. Yeah.
Log in.
Yeah. So yeah, those are those like just to kind of like start to cap this off. I love that armor is good. I love that crafting is real.
It's very real.
Yeah, and I really like the MTX for the new dodge animation.
That's so sick. I'm not a big MTX guy. I'm very much like I'll use like the Twitch drop stuff when I get it because that stuff's pretty cool. But like I'm such a big fan of like my character looks like the way that the armor looks.
Yeah, my Warbringer's using all just the red armor.
Because the stuff in the game looks really cool. And like I mentioned this yesterday, but like if GGG locks down that like transmog system where you can somehow like get the artwork for all of the uniques as like interchangeable pieces that you can use to like outfit your character with the like wardrobe, I'm a happy man.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much dope shit in this game that like I never get to use or like, you know, appreciate the art for because it's just, you know, especially playing SSF, like you barely use any of these uniques because they're oftentimes garbage and like not viable in the end game. So yeah.
I actually predict that there will be a league at some point that allows you to upgrade uniques to higher base types so that they can be used in the end game.
I hope so.
I'm predicting that there will be a league at some point that allows this so that the low level uniques that you're like, oh, there's no damage, but the mod is so cool.
Yeah.
That'll be like a possibility and that'll just blow open so many builds and stuff.
Dude,
you know?
even if it's like exactly like, you know,
you can upgrade them in D2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What would happen if like PoE 2 dropped like something instead of a cube, like something sphere, like Doriani's sphere, and you could like put shit in and like upgrade.
Use my fanny pack.
Yeah,
sphere. Yeah, like, and you have your like thanks Doriani.
Yeah, and that could be like the pouch that you need to like store stuff.
Fanny pack and microwave, and you microwave like your
yes.
Yeah, that would be cool. So I'm predicting that'll be a league at some point is upgrading the uniques.
Yeah, I wonder how that would work because like obviously right now we still have like it's the same system as Diablo 2. There's like normal bases, nightmare bases, and hell bases for like every item basically. Yeah, I really hope so. Was there anything else you wanted to like kind of touch upon? Like we have about 5 minutes left.
I guess what I'll say is like I'm a big fan of just GGG. Like it's kind of like you have a favorite band.
Yeah.
And then you get to like meet or know about the band members and they're actually like not egomaniacs and they're just like real people, you know?
Yeah.
That's really cool. I think that it's really cool to follow them and see what they're putting out and then also just kind of be a part of the conversation and help affect the development of the game. It's such a cool thing to be a part of.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've said this so many times and I love saying it. Like I love PoE 2 so much because the game is just so fun to play and I love being along this journey of seeing it like develop over like the course of since it launched. But I also just fell in love with like GGG too. So it's cool to be like playing a game that you just love for the gameplay of it, and then also like the company that's making it, they're just the goats. So it's like it's a win-win.
They haven't reached that massive status of like nebulous corporatization where they're just like faceless and it's just like they're an entity now that is like trying to steal money from you.
I hope they never do.
They're not there. They're not anywhere near that, and it's really cool that they're like still an indie band. You know what I mean?
Even though they're like a pretty popular indie band now, like it's not like, it's not like they're like playing in like dive bars anymore.
No, they're not. But they still have that identity though, I think.
For sure. Yeah, and I hope that they maintain that because it's something that a lot of people find very attractive about GGG, where it's like they're so in touch with their community. They're so in touch with the game. They play the game. They all clearly just love it. So as long as they like continue to maintain that, I really believe that like PoE 2 is going to be like the best ARPG ever made.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
They need to, like I said, some of the pain points of this league were really frustrating though, with like the ground effects and like clutter. Like that, those points too were really frustrating. I thought I was just like, there'd be points where I'd be like, dude, this is so annoying. Come on, they gotta fix that.
For sure. So do you think that like as sort of a last thing, like in terms of visual clarity, like they have this in PoE 1, I'm pretty sure, where there's like an ability to change like the color of things, like because Abyss everything's green, their like effects are green, the degens are green, like you can't really tell, and then you have like you're playing fissures and all. It's just like yeah. So what do you think like is a solution to help like fix the clarity of the game? Is it just like a changing of like the colors?
I feel like they need to get away from on death effect and ground effects in general from the enemies. Maybe make some of the rares cast them once in a while, but don't just lay them into the map everywhere. And figure out a way to mechanically have the attacks of the monster be the thing that you have to like avoid and stuff, or block or whatever. And just make it so that there's a little bit more intention in some of those monsters. You know what I mean? Just having a blanket like thing on the ground that if you step in it, it kills you and you can't see it is really frustrating gameplay. It's not fun gameplay. They should remove it and like rethink like, okay, we need the player to die somehow because there's nothing that's challenging them. We need to rethink that a little bit and figure it out. And it's like, that kind of means like we gotta one shot you then, and that's not fun either. But they need to do something else.
For sure. I'd be curious as to what the like statistic is of like what kills the most players. Similarly to how like in point 2 they had like volatile plants. Exactly. I would be very confident in saying that like one of the highest killing things in the game right now is just like degen auras from like
the Abyss monster. Absolutely. Monsters. I feel like that's 90% of my deaths.
Yeah. So we'll see. They'll probably change it. Hopefully. Yeah. All right, my friend. Well, it's almost about that time. Let's just get you to shout yourself out. Thank you so much, by the way, for this conversation.
Yeah, no problem.
This is so fun, bro.
Yeah, it's been really good seeing you in person. At first, it was a little surreal being like, I've seen you on TV, and now you're right here. But actually, it was really natural. Like 5 minutes later. I'm Mothmeta Michael. I have some D2 content, some PoE 2 content, and music that I write and produce and record myself. I have an album, and you can check that out on my YouTube channel, and you can listen to that while you're grinding blasting maps.
Dude, your music's sick. So I look forward to hopefully some more stuff from you. Can we expect some more music from you?
Yeah, there'll be some.
Nice.
I can't give you a date or anything.
No.
It'll be there.
But yeah, like for those of you, like I gotta plug Michael. Like he did a whole like prog rock album, basically dedicated for his Diablo 2 like builds, and it's just so much work, like doing a song for a build guide and doing the build and like all this type of stuff. So like, mad props to you, man. Like those are awesome, and the music kicks ass. So.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing. Hopefully that stuff translated into PoE 2 as well. I know it's like a hard time investment and stuff like that, but people definitely appreciate it. So as always, guys, I'll leave a link in the description for Mothmeta Michael's YouTube channel, music, and all that stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. All right, peace, y'all.
Later.
All right, everybody, that wraps it up for this episode of the Passive Tree Podcast. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe for more PoE 2 content. I have a bunch more episodes of the podcast lined up with some really great guests, so keep your eyes peeled for that. If you're interested in supporting the podcast and the channel, consider supporting through Patreon. There's a link in the video description. A special shout out to Kevin F. for supporting this channel. I appreciate you. Thank you. And until next time, happy blasting, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.